like, when did you learn the knuckleball? How did you learn it? Like, who did you learn it from?
I had pitched 4 years as a pro with the Dodgers, 2+ years in AA with a sore arm, very mediocre pitcher, and a minor league coach for the Dodgers named Goldie Holt, been in baseball maybe 50 years, said to me the first day at the Instructional League, 1969, walked up to me, I was playing catch with another pitcher, and he said, have you ever tried to throw a knuckleball? And I said, show me how. I've never tried it.
Yeah.
And he put my hand on the ball, showed me a grip. I said, what do you do with it? And he showed me, well, if I can grab a ball.
The grip. Is it the same grip
you've
used?
He put my hand on the ball right here.
Okay.
And I said, what do you do? And he said, you just throw it, push it, but throw it out of your hand. And I went, okay. And I played catch, and in 5 minutes I threw one that didn't spin.
Wow.
Didn't do much, just
5
playing
minutes.
catch. It fit my hand right. It felt comfortable to do.
Wow. Okay.
I went on and threw it in the Instructional League. Went to spring training the next year. Tommy Lasorda was my manager. He kept me on the AAA team. I have no idea why. And I guess he was right, because I ended up in the big leagues that year. I had a great year in AAA, in the Pacific Coast League, and my ball
And you were only throwing the
broke a
knuckleball.
lot. Oh
Majority
yeah,
of time,
yeah.
nothing
My
else.
stuff was awful.
Right. So the knuckleball was.
I mean, I was probably in the mid to low 80s with my fastball by that time.
Okay.
And like I said, my ball broke a lot, and it broke like a big curveball a lot of times. And the second year that I played, I got sent down. I made the club in '71, got sent down.
Okay.
And Dodgers signed Hoyt Wilhelm.
Right.
And moved me on the rubber, moved me over to the first base side, changed my angle a little bit, and changed my grip, but didn't really change my grip, just changed the spot on the ball.
Oh, so you moved it over there.
Where I got two seams hitting the wind,
Right.
and it could go either way.
Oh, wow.
And it really improved my game.
Dropping both ways.
Yes, yeah.
At the end, I guess, right. Yeah.
And then I spent the next 25 years trying to get it over.
Yeah, I mean, how hard was it? I mean, some days was it working, some days it wasn't. Did you know? I mean, it was never really, with the knuckleball, it's not always consistent.
Wow,
right?
it's really hard to do. It looks easy. It looks like just some guy playing catch.
Right.
But it's really hard to do.
Right.
And it's hard to repeat it. There's a lot of guys that can throw a good knuckleball.
Right.
But you got to throw it enough, a lot of times really good. And to get a chance to do it, it's hard, because you got to go win. If you're a professional pitcher, you're supposed to be winning.
Right.
And it's getting harder to do too.
Yeah, I mean, when you were throwing it, how many? You had Hoyt Wilhelm. Were there other guys?
Oh yeah, there were plenty of guys throwing. The Niekro brothers, Phil and Joe. Phil might be. Hoyt and Phil are the two best ever.
Yeah. Okay.
But there have been plenty of guys threw a knuckleball.
Right.
And those were the best. So those are the guys we talk about. And then some more guys came on after him. I got in there, and Timmy Wakefield and RA and Stephen Wright.
Yep.
I mean, there's been plenty of guys throw it. The guys that can get it over last the longest.
It's a tough thing. I mean, the mentality of a knuckleballer. Like I was talking to these guys yesterday about it. What kind of mentality do you have to have? Because you have to trust it, right? But sometimes you don't know where it's going to go.
You need a couple of things. You need to trust it, and the guy you're playing for, the manager and the team that you're playing for, have to believe in you. Right. It's really tough to sit in the dugout. And I've coached a couple of guys. We've had a couple of guys throwing a knuckleball.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to sit in the dugout when the guy walks 3 in a row
and
he's not throwing 95 miles an hour. It doesn't look good. Right. When a knuckleball pitcher loses, it doesn't look real good.
Yeah, it's not the same as a guy throwing 100.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you see? Like today, there's not as many, it's more rare, right? Why do you think that is? I mean, what's the?
Well, a lot of factors involved with it. I mean, kids are growing up now thinking if you're going to pitch in the big leagues, you have to throw 100 miles an hour. The other thing is, a guy with less talent, me, knuckleball pitcher, doesn't get a chance anywhere.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I mean, in high school, coach want to win. Certainly in college, they have to try to win.
Right.
So you don't have time to mess with a guy that's not throwing great.
Right.
If you're going to throw a knuckleball today, you really would have to get right now, win.
Right.
When the guys with the great arms don't do well, you have to go win. And they've cut down the minor leagues. There's fewer minor league teams.
Right. True.
Fewer minor league jobs.
True.
So we give a lot of money. We pay a lot of money for guys with the good arms. They're going to get the innings to pitch, and the guy throwing a knuckleball needs to pitch a lot. So you're not going to get the work. It's really going to be a tough time to get in there.
Right. And why, like a facility like this or Chris's program, Knuckleball Nation, like, how important is that? I mean, how cool is that you got involved, and how important is it as a?
Well, Chris he's done a great job showing kids, teaching kids, and we're going to eventually find somebody that can do this, But I think it's neat for baseball too, is that it keeps that interest in it. And maybe someday here soon, I don't know. I mean, there's a kid pitching in San Diego who throws a very good knuckleball.
Aldrin, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I kind of pull for him except for when he pitches against us.
Of course. And I talked to Alex Blandino in Arizona, who's come here. I think you saw him here. He's now signed by the Reds, minor league deal with the Reds. What do you think of his knuckleball? You think he's got a shot?
I've seen him throw a big league knuckleball.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Yeah, okay.
Which is the way it starts. I mean, that's exactly the way I was, only he's got a much better arm than I had. He's not hurt.
Right.
We'll see. I mean, it's going to take a lot of innings and a lot of patience for a guy like that to get to the big leagues as a pitcher. Yeah.
Okay. And there's a couple kids here, like Neeko we saw yesterday. Chris was saying you think he has a good, I mean, he's only 11, but.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows who can do this? I don't.
Yeah, nobody
does,
right?
Really don't know. I mean, I can show somebody what I did.
Yeah.
But there's a feel to this that is really hard to explain.
It's funny, you who threw it for years.
Yeah,
and
to say,
it's
so simple.
The pitch, right?
To me, it was simple. When Goldie showed me, to me it was simple that I threw the ball out of my hand. Now, you could probably do that, but then put it into throwing it 60 feet so a batter doesn't hit it. It's really hard to do.
Yeah, no, but that explains the mystery kind of the knuckleball, right? Yeah. I mean, that's how it is, which is, it's such a cool thing. That's why we're here to it's a cool thing in baseball that we want to talk about and keep as part of the game.
It would be nice. I would love to see it. I'd love to see somebody, be a 20-game winner again, throwing a knuckleball. Right. Will it happen? I just don't know, but I've showed it to a lot of kids.
Right.
And I've seen it with Timmy Wakefield when he was starting and RA was just starting, and they got it, and they were good right away, and they were great too.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen.
Yeah. For the most part, the umpires when I was pitching were really good.
Okay.
I argued all the time, but they were really good. In pitching, to be good, you have to control the counts. And for me, that was the toughest part of the game. So when I was ahead of a hitter, I felt real good about my chances. When I was behind, my chances weren't as good. Plus, I may have to throw my fastball, which was not going to work. So, being ahead in the count, getting strike one is huge. I think they did. I know Tommy talked them into coming. And Tommy Lasorda talked Hoyt into coming, and we played together in Spokane in AAA.
Okay.
So there's a Hall of Fame pitcher playing a AAA ball at 48 years old, working with me every day. Only problem was that year they called him up and left me in AAA. But yeah, he was great. He really helped advance my career, sped up my process of being pretty good. I found that I had pretty hard nails, so fortunately I never broke one until I was done playing. I would say my nails were a little bit on the short side. I like to feel strong into it, and I didn't like my nails bending much. When I went to Texas, I found that in the heat, they would bend more, so I kept shortening them.
For consistency.
Yeah. If a guy throws a really good knuckleball, you're probably not going to hit it very good. It's that simple. And there were guys that were not great big league hitters, but good big league hitters. If you're in the big leagues, you're pretty darn good. But there were guys that hit me really well that weren't known as great hitters. And there were some great hitters that didn't hit it very well.
Part of your longevity in the league was because you were throwing 65, 70?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. My game was done at 21, I think it was. I was about done. I mean, I was going to get released because there were younger guys moving up.
Yeah.
And that's the way the game goes. When you don't do well, somebody replaces you, and I wasn't doing very well. So yeah, throwing a knuckleball not just helped my career, it was. Yeah. How I got to be a starter? Wow, a couple of things happened. I started in Texas I got a few starts in LA. It was basically emergency things, guys couldn't go. In Texas, we were not doing very well. There was a strike in '81,
yeah.
And kind of an awkward thing. I mean, the manager asked me what I was doing sitting in the dugout during the game, and it was in Seattle. And I used to smoke a lot, so you couldn't sit in the bullpen and smoke, so I'd hide back in the corner of the dugout. So it was one of those weird things. And then I told him, I said, look, I think I could start here, and I think if I started all year, I'd win 15 games. And the next year, that year, I got 5 starts in September, and went 4-1. Next year, pitched opening day.
Wow.
So it was an awkward situation, but great,
Yeah.
fun. The game was always fun for me.
Yeah.
First pitch, how fun was that? Like starting the franchise, and like, I think you were laughing because I think the umpire called the strike.
Oh yeah, it was well, maybe a little outside. I mean, that for me, I went to high school 10 miles away from Joe Robbie Stadium.
Okay.
My family was there, my brother. I finally got to play on the East Coast. Growing up in Hialeah, Florida, baseball left in April, left Florida. So yeah, it was really cool at 45 years old to pitch the first game for an expansion team in my hometown. Wow. I mean, it's like playing in a World Series as far as a thrill. Yeah. Yeah. But when I had it here, it seemed like the ball broke one direction. A little or a lot, I couldn't tell. But when I moved to here, getting 2 seams in front, the ball tended to move that way or this way. So that made it a little more confusing.
Yeah.
To the hitter, and for me, made
Right.
it a little tough. But yeah, it made it a little more effective.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the better spot. Now other guys, Phil had it like that, kind of in deep in his hand, and there's been different grips, but not a lot different.
Yeah.
In other words, I haven't seen anybody with knuckles or their knuckles on the ball.
Knuckles.
Yeah, the guys that have been good, 2 fingernails, maybe some different spots on the ball, but the same kind of grip.
Yeah.
And I really don't know how much difference the spot on the ball matters. But yes, I threw it in the same spot every time. Every time. If the ball didn't feel, if I got a ball that didn't feel good right there, I'd ask for another ball. I wouldn't throw it on this side.
Yeah.
That way I could catch the ball and just look, boom, put it in my glove and be ready to wind up. Most of the time I didn't grip the ball until the beginning of my wind up instead of, like most guys would grip it first, then go. I just kind of grabbed it but I practiced it so much. Yeah, I practiced just holding it and throwing it.
Yeah.
Timmy felt he had to keep it real strong, cocked back, had to feel like he held it there. I just threw it.
Yeah.
So I never thought about, until somebody asked me, what do you do with your wrist? And I don't know. I just throw it. So I threw it more like my fastball. It wasn't fast, though.
It's like a special fraternity, right? With knuckleball. Like, did you guys, like with Niekro, with Wakefield, like you guys talk to each other?
I mean, the first year that I got to the big leagues, I met Phil Niekro.
Phil Niekro, okay.
So, I mean, it's just like perfect.
Yeah.
You know, and he starts talking about things that he ran into trouble with. And I go, wow, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me, only worse. Not as good, but
you guys know.
Yeah. There's things you have to feel. You have to get on the mound and pitch to the greatest hitters in the world and see if you can get them out. It's
fun making them look silly, right? Some of the greatest hitters.
They don't look silly. When you're out there, they don't look silly.
I mean, when they're chasing the knuckle, when they're chasing the ball.
It's fun to watch a guy that's great swing and miss and can't figure out how he missed it. Yes. Yeah. But I wouldn't tell him that when I was playing. Yahoo.
Perfect.
Okay.